Hello, I'm George from IntelligentRunning.com. I'm just going to spend a few minutes with you now showing you some of my favourite recovery exercises using the foam roller, which is a really quick way, kind of an accelerated way of recovering after you've had a long, hard run, like the marathon, for example, that I did just a couple of days ago. So let's get stuck in and I'll show you some of my favourite moves. The first exercise I want to show you is for the hip flexors. Now my hip flexors in here, they got a bit tight during the run. It was running at a pace that I wasn't accustomed to, but my hip flexors do commonly get a little bit tight anyway, and the foam roller is a really quick way of relieving some of that tension. So let me show you what I would do for the hip flexors, and we're going to roll down into the quads as well for this one. So you need to be on your front, and we're going to do one leg at a time. You want to kind of position yourself so that your hip flexor, just one side, is right on the roller and coming right up, almost into the groin, and then giving yourself a couple of big passes through the point. So you're going right over the point that it's a little bit tight. Now what you're trying to do here is really try and take in as much of the muscle as you can. The thing to remember with this is that you might have to adjust your position whilst you're rolling, and you use your forearms and your other leg on the floor to take some of the pressure off or put a little bit more pressure onto the muscle. If you have too much pressure, too much of your body weight on the muscle that you're trying to roll, all that's going to happen is you're going to tense up that muscle and you're not going to get any release of the tension in the fascia, the connective tissue that surrounds it. So go easy on yourself and try and get to a point where it's comfortably uncomfortable, sort of bearable pain. And that's about where you want to be. So let me show you the hip flexor again. I'll do it on the other side because it might be a little bit easier to see what's going on. So I want to get right up into the hip, into the groin there, and I'm going to just come forwards and through and then roll back down again. Coming through and then roll back down. What will happen is the roll is going to slip slightly as I go, so I just need to keep readjusting that. I'm looking for about 10 passes through the point. It's not too bad now. This is 2 days after the race, and I did this yesterday. My legs are pretty well recovered already, but yesterday that was a lot more uncomfortable, so I take it a little bit more gently than that. Now what we also want to do is we want to roll out the muscles, not just in one plane. We want to rotate around a little bit more as well, so we're not just attacking one long line of the muscle. We want to get right into all the different parts of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back into that same hip flexor muscle. I'm just going to roll slightly to the side. So they're square on, roll it slightly to the side, and I'm getting a different part of the muscle there. Roll it slightly to the inside, same thing. I'm just getting a little bit further in. I'm right on the edge of the roller as well, you'll notice, for the hip flexor. So I've got room to maneuver. Obviously I want to get my other leg out of the way as well. So play around with the position that you're in. The important thing though, you're going for about 10 passes over the muscle that you're trying to stretch, you're trying to work on, playing around with different orientations, so you're not just going through the same plane all the time. What you'll find is that some of the positions, some of the parts of that muscle will be tighter than others. You're bound to get a bit of a sore spot where it's like, yeah, you really feel that, and you know about it when you go over those points. Okay, but when you find those points, keep going with the passes, but after those 10 passes, we want to get in a little bit of cross friction as well, so it's going to look more like this. If I found myself a bit of a sore spot there, I'm just going to rotate over. In fact, that is still a little bit sore, so I'm not making this up now. I'm just rotating over that part of the muscle, giving it that cross friction, which again just helps to release some of the fibers, helps to release some of the tension in that part of the muscle. So about 10 passes and then some cross friction. Now that's the hip flexors. That'll be the first one. I would also then pay particular attention to the outside of the quad, which really just means coming down a little bit closer to the knee. So for this one, same position. I'll go on the other side so you can see a bit better and I can face the camera. But really I'm now looking, I don't want to quite get onto the outside, the IT band. There's not much sense really in rolling out the IT band, but I can definitely here get at the outside of the quad. And if I move down a little bit more, I can get right up into the knee. You'll see I'm using my hand, both hands, and the other foot here to support myself, so there's just enough pressure on there, and also to push my body forwards and back whilst I'm rolling. So that's a little bit uncomfortable, it's quite tight still at the moment. So that's the second part. I'd also want to get down a little bit closer to the inside of the quad around the knee joint. Again, I'll do this on the other side so you can see, but I want to get into there and right up into the adductor as well, the inner thigh. So now I want to be straight through the leg and just rolling through, kind of into the groin area, but then also right up and into the, down to the knee. Again, that's, I can feel that. Obviously there's still a bit of work for me to do. But the point with the rolling is, it hurts. Again, it should be comfortably uncomfortable, moderate levels of pain. But when you finish, the transformation is instant. You don't have to wait for 24 hours. You feel the difference straight away. So it really is worth going through 20 or 30 minutes of a little bit of discomfort for the benefits you get afterwards, immediately afterwards. The next exercise I'm going to show you is for the calves. Now my calves don't get too tight when I'm running, but it's a really common one to have. So I'm going to show you how to roll out the calves. It's actually a little bit easier than rolling out the hip flexors. You just get one leg up onto the roller, and we're going to roll forwards and roll back. I'm supporting myself through here, so my bottom's off the ground, lifting up. It's a bit of a shoulder workout as well, and I'm using this foot here to give me a little bit of extra support as well. So there's not too much weight on that leg, not too much. If I were to lift this foot off the ground, that's a little bit more unpleasant. I can just about manage it though. If I really wanted to get tough, I'd cross one foot over the other and roll through that. I'm not going to do that because I'm a bit of a wimp and it really hurts, and I don't need to. I'm just demonstrating today. But that's what I would do if I wanted to get much, much deeper into it. The same principles apply. About 10 passes, trying to get right the way through the calf. So right from the ankle, if I move that along a bit, I can come to the side, right the way through, up to around the point of the knee. We're not just looking at holding that one point. I want to turn the muscle to the leg to the side, so I can get it onto the outside of the calf, and the same thing on the inside. Just paying attention to any areas I feel where there's extra tension coming in. Like there's a little bit. So once I've done my 10 passes, a bit of cross friction, just getting across and really feeling those knots being worked on as I come through. Again, this is the more painful bit. You're hunting down the sore spots and you're focusing on those points. It sounds a bit masochistic, and in a way it is. But you know what? You give yourself this little bit of pain, and it's going to make a big difference to the way you walk up and down those stairs as soon as you finish the rolling. So that's the calf. Now for the glutes, which is another really useful area to do some rolling on, you can either use the roller, I'll show you how, or you can use what's called a trigger point ball. A tennis ball or a golf ball does work for this as well, but this is by far a more effective tool. It's a little bit more expensive, but you've got a little bit, there's some design features about this that make it a bit easier to get into the muscle. Let me show you on the roller first what I'm talking about. So what I'm after here is just getting onto one cheek at a time and just rolling through. So that's a basic glute stretch. It's a smaller muscle in terms of the length, but it's a much wider fan-shaped muscle. So I need to, again, play around with the position I'm getting into when I'm rolling the glutes, right up into the hip bone, up to there, kind of towards the lower back, and all over. So I'm changing positions constantly. Now, again, I don't really feel like I'm getting that much with that. Nowhere near the amount I would with a calf. But if I get the ball involved, same cheek, I can't roll around that much at all in the ball. It hurts. So I'm dropping in, and there's a lot of tension right there. Just move it around a little bit more. Yeah, there's a point right there, and yeah, there as well. So I'm just going to hold it on those slightly uncomfortable points, and then move it around a little bit more. So that glute rolling with the ball is more effective than the roller, though, as I said, if you only have the roller, it's still a pretty good way of doing it. The last one I'm going to show you is for the back. Now the back is, obviously it's not like directly involved when you're running because you're not running with your back, but there's a huge amount of support. And certainly I find my back stiffens up a little bit after I've been running. When I was running on Sunday, I had a pace flag, a backpack with a flag sticking out the back at the London Marathon, so my back's a little bit tight now. But the roll-up, once again, just seems to ease out a lot of those knots and that pain. Really easy to roll the back. Two things you want to do here. The first one is a straightforward roll, mainly in the upper back, but just coming through. I'm going to bring my arms up to open up the back and just roll through, up and down, and just feeling a little bit of pressure coming through, feeling a few of the knots just easing their way out. So again, about 10 passes there. I might roll a little bit onto one side to one shoulder, but really it's just to get a bit of a rolling movement up and down. The second movement you can do with the back is more about extension. So loosening off the spine over the roller itself. So bum stays down on the ground, bring it up to your middle back, doesn't want to be too low down, and just extend over the roller. You'll hear a few clicks and clacks as you go, and then back up again. Maybe 2 or 3 of these, just to ease the back off in that plane of movement, in that position, and then just roll the roller down a couple of inches, just so it's located on a different vertebrae. So you're on a different part of the back, just slightly. And then the same thing again, roll back and through. Roll back and through. 2 or 3 of them, maybe move it back up again for another position and do the same thing. Now, if you were to do that as a loop and just keep on rolling through it, you could spend maybe 4 or 5 minutes on each of those exercises. Within 20 or 30 minutes, you really are going to notice a difference with the way you walk and ultimately the speed at which you're able to get back to normal mobility and normal exercise. You can get back out there, allowing your body to recover properly, get back out there and start doing some light running whilst you finish off the recovery process. So there's a snapshot of foam rolling. There's loads more you can do with this bit of kit. You can get some cheapy ones. This one's probably about 20 quid, right up to the more expensive ones. The Grid is a really, really good bit of kit. It's a little bit more, it's about 35 to 40 quid, but the difference really is noticeable. And if you're going to be doing a lot of foam rolling, then it's worthwhile investing in a good bit of kit that you're going to want to use, and you know, who wants to put themselves through pain. But it's all about the recovery, and if you want to get back to the running, then recovery is essential. So there we go, there's an overview of foam rolling. I hope you found it useful, and I will hopefully be able to put together another video for you on something similar. Got some more ideas coming up, so that'll be coming your way very soon. But for now, check out intelligentrunning.com for more tips on running, recovery, nutrition, and everything there is to do about running. I'm George Anderson, and I'll see you again very soon.